Football fanbase or football community are places where football-related items were discussed, debate, or downright riot when necessary. However, fanbase or community discussion can become very toxic, rage-baiting, or downright diabolical on some of the statements. Most of the times, due to Twitter, or now known as X, available monetized, cause many people use the rage-baiting to fund engagement, thus more money. While coming down to Man United, we have to agree we do not have the best fanbase, or some call the worst fanbase, but we are not as brain dead as some of the fans. Of course, I'm referring to Arsenal fans. I'm just kidding, we are bound to our own opinion. But as per right now, we are seeing some of the Man United fans like Gary Neville, the United Strain, or even post-goals squad are farming clicks or views, taking advantage of Man United not performing well. So in this video, we have a look at some of the individual fans and conclude if we are really the bottom barrel in terms of the fanbase. In case you didn't know, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Marvin, codename CM. Welcome and welcome to the Code United channel once again. If you in any shape or form stumble into this channel and somehow some way like this kind of content, do please like, share and subscribe to this channel as each of your precious subscription will be a massive motivation for me to upload new content. And don't forget to ring the notification bell for every new upload. With that said, let's get straight into the video. First, we have to speak about Gary Neville and Paul Scholes. No doubt both of them have their fair share and contribution for the club as the footballer, while Gary Neville has been one of the top right back during his time, plus donning the captain armband for many years, led to Man United to glory in multiple times. And Paul Scholes once held as the best English midfielder, responsible held Man United midfield as a whole, whereby his retirement has caused a massive hole for Man United to backfill since. Well, after their retirement, both Neville and Scholes have their hands on coaching career, but in a very irony way, looking right now, both of them do not enjoy much success in their coaching career. But scratch that, downright abysmal, while barely making any significant waves despite their famed football career. But thus Gary Neville opted to move on to other sectors related to football, punditry. Well, almost immediately, he quickly became one of the most respected and recognizable football pundits in UK, and his work as a television analyst stood out because of his tactical insight, clear communication and willingness to criticize poor performance regardless of club loyalty. While despite being praised for his entertaining punditry, his constant criticism, especially recent times, had gradually received negative response, whereas as Gary often flip-flopped on his statements with heavy obvious bias, where for instance when Oli was the managerial, Gary will reduce his temperament on Oli given the Norwegian he was his mate. But when the manager was not within his contact list like Ten Hag and Amorim, Gary will not hesitate making comments on their tactics etc. Whereby this action was irony at its core due to Gary's poor record as a manager. While as for Paul Scholes, he did not pursue a major media career at first, though he later appeared as a football pundit and a communist, while community analysis tend to be more blunt, honest and player focused, often emphasize on fundamentals such as passing quality, positioning and football intelligence. However, similar with Gary, the former England national recently comes to fire after the comment of Lisandro Martinez, whole story on his side and Man City Erling Haaland can body him easily. But in that match, Martinez completely neutralized, made his comment a clown. While both Gary Neville and Paul Scholes, although contain a great reputation as a footballer, their punditry either as a spectator or as a fan have been pissing a lot of fans. But another saying, Man United unable to sustain good performance allowed them to gain more recognition, thus more money. For the next one, the United Strain, or aka the hair guy. Well, in October 2024, Frank vowed to not cut his hair until Man United had won 5 consecutive competitive matches including Premier League and Cup matches. What began as a light-hearted stunt quickly turned into a viral saga, especially as United struggled for consistent form. As of early 2026, he had gone nearly 500 days without a haircut, while chasing those 5 wins a streak that became a humorous symbol of United's inconsistent. Although we praise for Frank's dedication for his promise, while at the same time wishing Man United could make consistent performance, however as time progressed with Frank getting bigger in social media, all things changed to the negative one. Due to the fact some critics argue too much attention is being paid to a hair stunt instead of football performance and actual results. Some fans and commentators felt the conversation around United has now skewed towards will he cut his hair, and he had been relegated as a joke club stunt rather than the team's points and performance, in which correlated with Carrick's successful brought United 4 winning streak, including the win over rivals of Arsenal and Man City. Many United fans kept saying he finally can have his haircut. But some United fans like Matthias Cunha had publicly stated They were not motivated by the challenge and see it as irrelevance to the team's goal, even suggesting it distracted from the bigger picture of the result and progress. Ultimately, people doesn't like Frank himself as much as they've grown frustrated on how the United strain have evolved from a quirky fan-driven challenge into a long-running viral spectacle filled with media hype, commercial elements, and sometimes distracting the chatter from football itself. As some fans are happy he raised money for charity, while others think the whole thing has gone too far beyond its original joke. Lastly, Roy Kent. The former United captain has built one of the more recognizable punditry career in the modern football media since retiring from a professional play. Best known as the former captain of Man United, Keane carried his intense standard and direct communication style from pitch into television studio. His transition into punditry made him a prominent analyst, particularly through his work with Sky Sports, where he became known for his blunt assessment, strong opinions, and memorable one-line critiques. While Kane's punditry style is defined by honesty and zero tolerance for corpulency. His frequent emphasized effort, discipline, leadership, and mentality over excuse or narratives. Viewers often find his analysis refreshing because it avoids diplomatic language and focuses on accountability. While his elite playing background gives a weight on his tactical and philosophical observation, and many fans across football appreciate his refusal to soften criticism for popularity. However, his approach has also drawn criticism from some Man United supporters. A portion of the fanbase felt like Keane was too harsh on his former club, publicly calling out players and performers in ways they consider overly negative. Some argue he is compared to this squad unfair to the high standards of United past golden era, shows insufficient sympathy for the club's rebuilding challenges. Social media has amplified this tension as short clips of his sharpest comment often circulates without the full context, making his view appear even more severe. While despite the divided reaction, Keane remains an influential and widely watched pundit. His media career reflected the same quality that defined his playing days: intensity, clarity, and uncompromising standards, which continue to spark debates among Man United fans and the wider football audience. Well, whether Man United fans are one of the worst fan base is mostly a matter of opinions. In fact, fan base reputation usually depends on perspective, rivalries, and also online behavior rather than objective measurement. While Man United has one of the largest global fan base in football, with the size of comes with both strengths and weaknesses. But every major club like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Arsenal, etc. gets labelled the worst fan base by rival at some point. While the bigger the club, the louder and the more divided the fans culture become. So it is more accurate to say that Man United have one of the biggest and more visible fan base, which naturally includes the both great supporters and a very, very toxic voice. That's the end of the video. What do you guys think? Do you see Man United with the past legends speaking on the clubs plus the Man United fanbase stunt held Man United fanbase as the worst? Or you have other in mind? Or comment down below so we can have a discussion. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one.